Hello, today I'm going to be reviewing Sky 2, which is the latest mid-tower case from Montech. It's available from today, priced at just $99 for the black version that I have here. The white version will cost you an extra $6, while the Moroccan blue version will set you back an extra $20. So in terms of Montech cases, they have been just getting better and better with each one that they have sent me. They really seem to be interested in feedback and are improving the cases with each generation. So I'm really excited to be checking Sky 2 out. So make sure you stick to the end of the video where I'm going to be telling you if this should be your next case. So you should be able to get a really good view of your components inside Sky 2 with tempered glass panels on both the front and the side. To remove the side tempered glass panel, we've got two captive thumb screws on the back. Once these have been loosened, the panel can be slid backwards, tilted out and lifted away. Taking a look at the other side panel, you'll notice we have an area of perforation in it, indicating that you're going to be able to side mount fans or radiators in Sky 2. To remove the other side panel, again we've got two captive thumb screws on the back, and once these have been loosened, the panel can be pulled backwards and lifted away. And you'll notice we've got a magnetic dust filter over the perforated area of the panel. Taking a look at our case's front I/O, we've got a power button, we've got two indicator LEDs, we've then got a button to control the case's built-in ARGB hub, we've got two USB Type-A ports, a separate headphone and microphone jack, and a single Type-C port. To remove the case's top panel, we've got a captive thumb screw at the back. Once it's been loosened, the top panel can simply be slid backwards and lifted away. Taking a look at the underside of the top panel, you'll notice there's no dust filter, although as most people are going to be having the top of the case as an exhaust, a dust filter isn't required. With the top panel removed, we're now able to remove the front tempered glass panel, and it's simply a matter of just lifting this up and away. Moving into the main body of the case, and Sky 2 is compatible with up to AITX motherboards, and you're going to be able to fit pretty large CPU coolers in the case with a maximum CPU cooler height of up to 168mm being supported. Taking a look at the fan and radiator mounting options, at the side of the case you're going to be able to mount up to 220mm fans or up to 240mm radiator, and Montech have included two 120mm fans with a really nice ARGB ring around the outside. If we take a closer look at these fans, you'll notice these are actually reverse fans. The fan blades have been reversed so that you're going to have the good side of the fan facing into the case but still able to have it as an intake. At the top of the case you can fit up to three 120mm or two 140mm fans, or up to 280 or 360mm radiator. At the rear of the case is a single 120mm fan or radiator, and Montech include a 120mm ARGB fan here. The fan blades are the standard way round here, meaning this is going to be an exhaust. At the bottom of the case you're going to be able to mount up to two 120mm fans, and in the box in the case Montech include another 120mm ARGB reverse fan, designed to be set as intake at the bottom. You're going to use the included long radiator screws to screw the fan in from the top, and although Montech only include one fan, there is enough fan mounting screws included to mount two fans at the bottom. So because we've got bottom intake fans, they are going to need a source of air, and if you take a look at the bottom panels on both the front and the side, they are mesh. These panels are removable. There's two screws at the top of the front panel and two screws on either side of the side panel. Taking out our graphics card mounting options, you'll notice we've got 7 horizontal PCI expansion slot brackets, and you're going to be able to fit a really large graphics card in Sky 2, with graphics cards up to a maximum length of 400mm being supported. At the bottom of the case we've got a tray-style dust filter over the power supply's intake. Moving into the case's rear compartment, it's good to see we've got rubber grommets over the two main cutouts to the right hand side of the motherboard, and we've got 3 velcro straps and plenty of cable tie-down points which should make cable management straightforward. At the top of the case we've got a fan stroke ARGB hub which has 6 PWM fan connectors and 6 3-pin 5V ARGB connectors, and our pre-installed case fans are already installed in the hub. Coming from the hub, we've got both a 4-pin PWM connector and a 3-pin 5V ARGB connector that we're going to be able to plug into our motherboard to allow us to control the speed of the fans and also the lighting of anything that's plugged into the hub. Moving down the case, we've got two dedicated 2.5-inch drive mounts. They're each held on with a captive thumb screw. Once this has been loosened, the drive tray can be tilted out and lifted up. You're going to mount your drive to the back of the tray before returning it to the case. At the bottom of the case we've got a hard drive cage. Removing it's really straightforward. We have a captive thumb screw at the back, and once it's been loosened the hard drive cage can simply be pulled backwards to remove it. If we take a closer look at the hard drive cage, you'll notice we've got a mounting location for another 2.5-inch drive on the top of the drive cage, and in the drive cage itself we're going to be able to mount up to two 3.5-inch drives. Taking a look at the bottom of the case, you'll notice we've got two different locations for mounting the hard drive cage in. Our power supply is going to go down at the bottom at the back, and Sky 2 is compatible with full-sized ATX power supplies up to a maximum length of 210mm. If we take a look at the back of the case, you'll notice there's no removable power supply bracket, so we are going to have to insert our power supply in from the side. Taking a look at what's included in the case accessory box, and Montech have really excelled themselves here. The screws are not only individually packaged but also labelled, so you're not going to have to hunt through the instruction manual to find out what screw goes where. They've also included the standoff removal and insertion tool, and absolutely loads of cable ties. So what I want to do now is give you a look at the build I put together in Sky 2. So I'm really happy with the aesthetics of this case, and in particular I think the ARGB fans look absolutely brilliant with the ring of light on them. But I think what's going to make or break this case is whether these fans are actually any good. So let's take a look at the thermals and the noise. So our i7-13700K idled at 38 degrees and reached a maximum of 98 degrees during a 10-minute AIDA64 stability test. It is important to note that there was up to 13% thermal throttling during this test. In terms of the GPU temperatures, our Zotac Gaming RTX 4080 idled at 30 degrees and reached a maximum of 67 degrees during the stability test. In terms of noise levels, these were really good at idle at only 34 decibels, and the average noise levels under load were 50 decibels. So the temperatures here are actually pretty good. The AIDA64 stability test is a really extreme test. And when I was gaming on the PC, the CPU temperatures were in the 60s, while the GPU temperatures were in the 50s to the 60s, so much lower than what we were getting on the AIDA64 stability test. The next thing I wanted to look at was actually, did the fan at the bottom below the graphics card make any difference? So I went ahead and removed it. So with the fan below the graphics card removed, both our CPU and GPU 1 degree hotter during a 10-minute AIDA64 stability test, and there was also 1 decibel less noise at idle. So not a big benefit in terms of having the fan beneath the GPU, only 1 degree difference in temperatures during a really extreme test. But importantly, the fan comes with the case in the box. I also think it looks really good. So for me, I would most definitely install it. What I want to come on to now is any issues I had during the build, and Sky 2 is really straightforward to build in. I didn't have actually any issues putting the system together, and the only slight issue I had was controlling the fan speed of the pre-installed fans that I had plugged into the case's fan hub. No matter what I did in the BIOS, I wasn't able to stop the fans spinning at 100%. Now Montech have let me know that this is an issue with the pre-production version of the controller that they've installed in the case, and they are going to have this issue sorted out by the time the case actually releases. I solved this issue by just using another fan hub and got the fan running lovely and quiet. So hopefully this won't be an issue by the time the case hits the markets. So moving on to the things I liked about Sky 2, and the first thing I liked was the look and design of the case. You're going to be able to get a really great look at the system you put together in it with the glass on the front and the side. And it kind of reminded me of a cross between the O11 Dynamic with the glass panels, but also the LAN Cool with the mesh down at the bottom. And I really like both of these cases, so it's not a surprise I like this one. Another area I was really happy with was the build quality. I had no issues at all with any paint flaking off or the feet leaving any black marks on my tables, some issues I've had with previous budget cases. The panels also came on and off really without any issues, and there's a lot of higher end features in this case. The fact that we've got rubber grommets over the two main cutouts to the right hand side of the motherboard, we've got Velcro cable straps, and we've got a built-in fan and ARGB hub. We've also got front panel Type C. We're able to control our ARGB hub from the front panel without having to purchase any additional modules to allow us to do that. And as well, I think the biggest feature of this case for me is that it comes with really good fans in terms of noise and performance, but also really good fans that look good. We've got proper 4-pin PWM connectors and really nice ARGB lighting on the fans. And the fact Montech have gone a step further and included reverse fans for the intake on the side and the bottom really just shows the depths they've gone to in this case to make it look really good, but also sound really good because the fans run really quiet. If you take a look in the case accessory box, it just shows you again the levels that Montech have gone to. The fan screws are individually packaged, we've got loads of cable ties, and they haven't skimped out on the accessories, something that a lot of other manufacturers do. When you mount fans at the bottom, a lot of other cases give you the option but don't include the screws. Montech not only give you the screws to mount the fans they've included, but also to mount an additional fan should you want, and they include the standoff removal and insertion tool. So really it's very hard to fault Montech at all on this case. So moving on to the things I didn't like about Sky 2, and assuming Montech fixed the issues with the fan controller before they released the case, I've got absolutely nothing to say in this section. I can't even fault the fans at the bottom when the mesh panel, as I mentioned in the LAN cool. If you mount ARGB fans at the bottom that emit a lot of light into the bottom of the case, you can quite often see your fan cables down at the bottom through the mesh panel. It just lights up the bottom compartment and you can see everything in here. The type of fan that Montech have gone with the ARGB at the top, well away from the bottom, means you can't actually see anything through this mesh panel at the bottom at all. So I've got absolutely nothing to say in this section. Let's move on. So now we've reached the stage in the review where I need to tell you, should you go out and get this case? And it really doesn't feel like it was that long ago that I was being offered a Montech case to review that came with Molex powered fans that there was absolutely no way to control the fan speed. So it was going to sound like a plane on the desk trying to take off beside you. And I just said, no, I'm not reviewing this because I know what the outcome is going to be. It's going to be incredibly noisy. I'm not going to want it sitting beside me, so I'm not wasting my time reviewing it. And how different it is with this case in front of me today. Montech have completely changed what they've been doing. They've got better and better with each version. And now that we have good quality PWM fans with great ARGB in it and all these other features, I think Montech have got the complete package here, and they've hit a complete home run with this case. So I can 100% recommend this case, and really props to Montech for listening to the feedback as they've been going along and making the cases better. So please keep doing this, Montech. This case is absolutely brilliant and I really enjoyed checking it out and reviewing it. So if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. And remember to check out the full build guide that I've done in the case. Thanks for watching.